What's up, guys? How is everybody doing? Welcome to the Sports 2.0 show. I'm Will Reed. I'm joined here by Amber Williams, and we are here to talk to you about some Stanley Cup Finals hockey. Amber, how was your weekend? It's a big Monday for the NHL. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this. I'm so hyped for the finals starting tonight. I just came back from vacation and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, me too. I'm dealing with some internet issues here, but I'm ready to talk some NHL hockey. So let's get right into it. Stanley Cup Finals preview. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning behind me, Montreal Canadiens behind Amber. Works out well for our picks later. You'll see those. But the road to the finals, Tampa Bay coming from we'll call it the East, but not technically the East due to the division realignment in the NHL. But they went through the Panthers in the first round. They beat the Panthers in 6 games. Hurricanes in 5, and then finishing a wild Game 7 against the Islanders. What were your thoughts on the finish of that series, Amber?
That was insane. I think it showed, from my side of things, looking at Montreal here, I think it showed that Tampa Bay is beatable.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the last game, 1-0 finish. The Islanders really gave their all to the Tampa Bay Lightning. But you know, we'll have to see. And then on the other side, you want to break down the road to the finals for the Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah, so they had a 4-3 win for the series against the Leafs, coming from behind to pick up that win. And then they swept the Jets completely. And then they finished with a 4-2 win over Vegas. So they are definitely poised and ready to go.
Yeah, they came from 3-1 back against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was great. The Maple Leafs really went into that series as the favorite to win that series and to win the whole North Division outright for the Canadian teams, but then they lost in 7. Then the Canadiens got that big-time sweep against the Winnipeg Jets, who once again went in favored because the Jets came off of their sweep against the Edmonton Oilers. And then a big-time win in 6 games against the Vegas Golden Knights, who were tied for the President's Trophy win in the regular season with the Colorado Avalanche. So them being able to just make it this far is a win on their season from my perspective. But they're not done yet. They're in the Stanley Cup Finals. They want to prove something and they want to win. So what is your analysis so far of the Canadiens, and what do you think they really need to do to win this series?
Yeah, so let's dive right into that. For the Canadiens to win, first off, you got to look at it. They're underdogs, right? So they were number 16 coming into the playoffs. They have a 13-2 record, however, since coming from behind against the Maple Leafs. And I think that shows that they definitely have what it takes. For me, I think the key is got to be Carey Price. During the playoffs, he has only allowed an average of 2 goals per game, which, of course, against a team like the Lightning, you can't be doing that. That's not good. But he has a 93.4 save percentage of actual attempted shots. I think their defense is very strong.
Yeah, I wrote down the same thing as my keys for the Canadiens. They got to play in front of Carey Price. They got to keep the puck out of their offensive zone, their defensive zone, sorry. If they keep the puck out of their defensive zone, they won't allow Tampa enough time to set up their offense. We've seen it time and time again. If Tampa has time to set up their offense, they will score. Braden Point's 9-game playoff goal-scoring streak just ended. That was a crazy run for him. But if they can have guys like Jeff Petrie, Shea Weber, their whole defensive their D-men, keep the puck out of the D zone for the Canadiens, I think they have a pretty good chance to win. They're young up front. They got guys like Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield has been a breakout star in these playoffs. But those young guys need to step it up as well on the defensive end. But it's all running through Carey Price for the Montreal Canadiens. What are your thoughts on the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, so for Tampa, when it comes to them, I think that they're offensive machines. Like, that's just what they are. I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be a defensive versus offensive game, and just who's able to play to their strengths the best. As you said, like, they have an incredible offense. They're number 1 goal differential in the playoffs. And their penalties, they are able to take their penalties and make a 37.7% conversion. That way, I mean, they're so stacked. I don't know.
Yeah, when you can roll out power play lines that have Victor Hedman, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Alex Killorn, you can just run through all their names. All their names on that roster are capable power play players. Mikhail Sergachev is another defender they could put out there. All of those guys on that roster are capable of scoring on the power play. So, as you said, a 37.4% power play, and that's with going up against teams like Florida, Carolina, New York Islanders, all had strong penalty kills going into the playoffs, but were just overmatched by the Tampa Bay Lightning's ability. Do you see any weaknesses on either side? What does each side have to worry about going into this series?
I think for the Canadiens, they are very much relying on a young roster here. So their star at the moment, in my opinion, besides their goalie, of course, is Cole Caulfield. So he is a 20-year-old rookie, but he has scored 4 goals in the Vegas series, and he seems to be like their star, and that's amazing. But when you're relying almost on a rookie, that's very dangerous, especially against a team such as the Lightning.
Yeah, I wrote down the same thing. It's all about experience for the Montreal Canadiens. They do got guys on the back end like Shea Weber and Jeff Petrie who have a lot of experience. Carey Price in net obviously has been at it for a while. But that front six, those top lines for their forward core is pretty young. They got Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Cole Caulfield, as you mentioned, Nick Suzuki up there. Jonathan Drouin is still young, never played this far into the playoffs. Just a lot of guys. They still got Brendan Gallagher down there. I think what is key for Montreal is their depth. They've been able to have some great depth scoring. Their veterans on their bottom 6 lines, such as Cole Perry, Joel Armia has been playing some big minutes for the Montreal Canadiens. That's really the big key here. Do you see any? So you pointed it out earlier that the New York Islanders showed that the Lightning are beatable. Do you see any areas where they might lapse in their ability to beat the Canadiens, where they have any weaknesses?
I think if Carey Price gets hot, they are going to have a harder time going up against that defensive line in Montreal. I know their offense is incredible, of course, like you were mentioning, but I just see, like, when a goalie gets hot, they're hot, and it's hard to beat them, and I don't see that. If he gets hot, it's going to be really hard for them.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting looking at this on both sides because both teams are strong in net with their goaltenders. Obviously, Andrei Vasilevsky on the other side for the Lightning is a very good goaltender, probably the best young goaltender in the league. But then you got Carey Price, the experienced veteran on the other side. Never been this far, first Stanley Cup Finals appearance. For the Canadiens, their first Stanley Cup Finals appearance since 1993 when they won a cup. The last time a Canadian team has won the cup. So this is obviously interesting for any Canadian just team fans out there. But I think you're right. The Carey Price, if he is able to stay hot like he has been in these last few series and keep the puck out of the net, it's going to be hard for the Lightning to stop the Canadiens on the under end. But so we had a kind of preview to this earlier. We have our predictions ready. I'll let you start. What are your predictions for this series? How do you think the outcome goes? Do you think it goes a long series, goes to 7? What are your thoughts?
So I am going with Montreal on the series. I have thought it's Montreal since the conference finals, and I'm sticking with it. That's just who I see bringing home the trophy this year. But if they do pull this off, like I think they will, it's going to be a 7-game series. This is going to be a close match, regardless of who wins. So I do see it going into the 7. But it's the playoffs, and stats are great. Like, we're looking at all the stats, and of course, I can see where Lightning is, on paper, the better team. But it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I'll personally take the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like you said, they're the better team on paper, but I do like you sticking with the Montreal Canadiens. We had our show just about a week ago, and we both talked about it, that gut feeling about this Montreal team. They've been having, I said in our previous show, that kind of magical playoff dust sprinkled over them. They've had a magical feeling towards their playoff run, but it's hard to deny those numbers that you mentioned. Tampa Bay is the better team on paper. They've got former MVPs and Nikita Kucherov and Steven Stamkos on the team. There's no winner. Andrei Vasilevsky backing them up in net. I don't see Tampa Bay losing this series. I'm going to say it goes 6 or 7. I think Montreal will be able to steal a few games, probably a few games in Bell Center in Montreal. But it's hard to bet against Tampa in this one if you're looking at the pure statistics and numbers. So any So we got game one tonight at 8 p.m. What are your thoughts on game one? Do you think Montreal comes out hot, or do you think Tampa Bay starts off this series with a win in Tampa Bay?
It being in Tampa Bay, I think makes it very complicated for the Canadiens in the first place. You have that home crowd advantage, of course. But the Canadiens are 11-0 when they score at least 2 goals. So I think if Montreal comes out hot, which I see them doing that, like I said, their record since beating the Leafs has been incredible. If they come out hot and they're able to get at least 2 by Tampa, I see them taking the game 1. And that, of course, I think is the key for them to get the series. If they go down to Tampa, even just this 1, it's going to be hard for them to come back. Even though I think they can, it's going to be more difficult.
Yeah, that's actually amazing. I didn't know about that statistic that they were 11-0 when they score at least 2 goals. That just tells you how good Carey Price has been playing in these playoffs and how well the Canadiens have shut down their opposing teams. But I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Lightning in game 1. They're minus 200 favorites in most sports books. I believe DraftKings has just moved their line to minus 205 or so. So obviously the bettors are going with Tampa Bay here at home. But that means there's good value on the Canadian side. If you're rocking with the Canadiens and you think that they can come out victorious, there's good value on the betting side for them. But for me, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're just too much to handle, especially at home at Amalie Arena. I think they win this one by at least 2, but we'll see. The Canadiens, if they do get that 2-goal mark, maybe they make it 12-0 with scoring 2 goals. But I think there's a good chance that they could lose this one. Probably 3-1, not reach that 2-goal mark, and lose this game 1. Any final thoughts here, Amber, before we close out the show?
I would like to see Montreal do it. I would like to see their magical season continue, but I do agree that it's going to be very hard to get past Vasilevsky.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you too. I got my Capitals gear behind me. I would love to see a team like Montreal win their first Stanley Cup in a long time. Tampa Bay had their glory last year, but it's hard not to see them repeat as Stanley Cup champions and go back-to-back in 2021 after winning in 2020. So I think that'll conclude our show here on the Sports 2.0 Network. We were talking NHL hockey. I was Will Reed, joined here by Amber Williams. And don't forget to subscribe to the Sports 2.0 Network. We're supplying a lot of great content over all of our channels and sites. Go check us out at the Sports 2.0 Network. That'll do it all. That'll be all for us, and I'll see you guys next time.